Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, or if you guys are new here for the first time, then hello, welcome. In today's video, we are filming the long-awaited Paris Storytime video for you guys today. If you didn't know, I went to Paris a couple months ago, and I had mentioned in a couple of my past videos that I really wanted to film a Storytime video for you guys where I sat down and just told you guys my experience. While I was there, we did go over to London and we did take a day trip to Paris. I do want to preface this video with I am very grateful and blessed at the fact that I was able to even go to Paris and able to see anywhere in Europe. It is not that I am being ungrateful for the experience that I had. I'm simply just telling you guys what my experience was out there. There was a lot of circumstances that caused our experience to be not so great, which you guys will hear more about in the video. I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything like that. This is just simply what happened. So if you guys are interested in seeing this story time video, just go ahead and keep on watching. So getting into the video, I'm going to try to make this video as short as I can because I'm sure it is going to be a little lengthy and I'm going to ramble a little bit. So if you guys do not like storytime videos, go ahead and click on out. This is not the video for you guys. So starting the story out, when we initially left Colorado to go to London, our flight was actually canceled because of snow here in Colorado. So we originally were supposed to be getting into London on Thursday and going to Paris on Friday, but unfortunately, since our flight got canceled, we now were going to be getting into London on Friday. So there was no way we were going to be able to catch our train to Paris, obviously. So we had to reschedule our train ride to Paris until the following Tuesday. So that is what we did. Tuesday came around, we left at about like 5 a.m. I think. It was really early in the morning. The process leaving London and going through customs to go to Paris was amazing. So from starting on the train ride, I definitely did not feel like eating that much. My stomach was already just kind of feeling a little bit off, I guess. So we get to Paris, we get off of the train, and as soon as we get off the train, we see these signs that say, "Don't trust taxi drivers." And at this point, I'm still fine. I'm so excited to be there. But little did I know, my dad was actually having some anxiety about that sign when he saw it. It made his anxiety go a little wacky when we first got there. So we get there off the train and we all had to go to the bathroom. And in Europe, if you guys didn't know, you have to pay a lot of the times to go to the bathroom. We did feel a little uncomfortable when we went to the bathroom because there was a ton of military standing there with their guns drawn. And I think most likely they're probably standing there all the time. But we unfortunately were in Paris not even 12 hours after the Notre Dame fire happened. So the Notre Dame fire happened like the night before we were there. So the city was still in chaos and there was a lot of security, extra precautionary stuff, which obviously is very understandable. But after we got out of the bathroom, we go up to the top and we are trying to figure out how we're gonna get to our first tour guide. We had 2 tours set up that day. We had one that was an hour and a half to 2 hours long, and then we had a 5-hour walking tour. So we decided we were gonna go ahead and do an Uber to get to our first tour guide. Unfortunately, our Uber driver did not speak a single lick of English, which again is totally fine, but it made us feel very uncomfortable and anxious because we couldn't communicate. So when our Uber driver called us, we obviously couldn't communicate and it was kind of hard to find out where to meet him. Thankfully, I believe there was a McDonald's and I believe my dad just said McDonald's and we met over there. So we finally get to where our first tour is. We get out of the car and we're trying to find our tour guide. And thankfully our tour guide did speak English, which was great. I wanted to let you guys know too that my dad did not tell me and my mom what this first tour was. He wanted to surprise us. So we meet our tour guide and we walk over to our means of transportation and we are driving around in a bright red golf cart. in the streets of Paris, not on the sidewalks, the main streets of Paris. It was standstill traffic everywhere we went because we were pretty close to Notre Dame. We were able to grab some pictures, which was really sad to see, obviously. So we get in the golf cart and we start driving around, and unfortunately we weren't able to see, but I think like 1 or 2 stops that we were supposed to go on, so that was kind of a bummer. But the first stop that we made on this little tour, my stomach just was not right, you guys. I started getting really anxious because when we were on the streets of Paris, me and my mom were sitting in the back of the golf cart, and there was a lot of people giving us like death glares and catcalling me and my mom, and we would stop at lights and there would be like tons of motorcycles really close to the golf cart. And it was just like a really uncomfortable feeling, like you're in a foreign country, you don't speak the language, and people are like catcalling you. God knows what they're saying. It just made us feel really uncomfortable. So my stomach was not doing the best, so I decided that I was not going to like eat anything. I ended up taking some medicine to hopefully help, and it did, but it still wasn't the best. So we finished our first tour, which our tour guide was amazing. He was super sweet, but we just weren't able to have the full tour experience. So he did drop us off in like the middle of this like roundabout type thing. We had no idea where we were, and I think that's really when my anxiety started to set in, because when we got dropped off, we were kind of like lost little puppy dogs, and obviously that's on us for not being prepared and not like researching, I guess, enough to figure out where we needed to go. I honestly don't think that any of you guys would understand the feeling that we went through unless you have been to a different country where they don't speak your language. I think that is really hard. At least for me, someone who has anxiety, it makes me feel very anxious when I can't communicate. And again, obviously that is on us. We don't speak French, so I'm not putting that on anyone that is from there. I'm just saying it's a very uncomfortable feeling. And that was probably the first time in my entire life that I have felt that, because we always go to places where we can speak their language. In Mexico, my mom speaks fluent Spanish, so we never have to worry about it. So we decided to go ahead and head over to where we needed to meet for our 5-hour walking tour. So we headed on over to the like main part of Paris. I don't even remember like the area of what it was called, but we had about 45 minutes once we got there, so we decided to go ahead and sit down in a restaurant and try to eat something. I knew deep down that I did not want to eat because we were about to go on a 5-hour walking tour, and your girl did not want to get sick and have to be running to a bathroom every 5 seconds when we were on a walking tour. So we did go to this restaurant. I will say that we did not feel very welcomed where we went, which I know that obviously their culture is different than ours, so I don't want to judge that too much. So my dad had a full meal, and me and my mom just ate like a few fries, and that was it. So we leave there, we go to the 5-hour walking tour, and that was fantastic. I 100% would recommend that if you guys ever go to Paris. Our tour guide was amazing. He was from Australia, and his fiance was also part of the tour as well and helped kind of keep all of us together. So that was probably our favorite part of our Paris day trip, because we got to see all of the main tourist attractions, all of the main sites that we needed to see. So if you guys are interested and you are going to Paris one of these days in a few months or years or whatever, if you ever want to know like the name of the tour that we went on, let me know and I can leave that information down below for you guys. Unfortunately, the very first stop that we made on our 5-hour walking tour, one of the girls' phones that was on the tour got pickpocketed in one of the churches that we went to, which I feel like you just need to be responsible with that kind of stuff. I had a little fanny pack that was inside of my jacket the whole entire time that we were in Europe, whether it was London or Paris. So towards the end of our 5-hour walking tour, we hit the Eiffel Tower, obviously, which was absolutely amazing. All along this 5-hour walking tour, I was feeling pretty good, but I was not drinking enough water and I did not have enough food in my body. So once we got to the last stop on our tour, we decided that we were gonna go ahead and leave a little bit early because we needed to catch our train, and at this point, we wanted to get back to London so bad. So we left the tour early and caught an Uber to get back to the train station, which our Uber driver on the way back was the nicest person ever, let me say. He was so, so sweet. So when we got into the Uber, I realized that my body just felt like a semi truck had run over it. Like, it felt like I had the flu when your body just feels really run down. And I thought, you know what? I'm just really tired. We walked for 5 hours. You know, I don't have food in my system. I haven't, you know, had enough water, so I'm probably dehydrated. So I'm trying to drink as much water as I can. We get to the train station. We go up the escalators to where we need to go through customs. As we're going up the escalators, we see this line. And there is a line of probably like 200, a couple hundred people at least, waiting to go through customs. Granted, we are there an hour and a half early when everyone had told us we just had to be there 45 minutes early. We're waiting in line and I'm increasingly feeling worse and worse. And unfortunately, my nausea got so bad. I was nauseous beyond belief standing in the line, and my body just felt like it was going to collapse at any point in time. So I was very, very irritable. I was not in a good mood whatsoever. Our train was supposed to leave at 9 o'clock. It is now 8:20 and we still haven't moved in this line. And there's probably a couple hundred people behind us now at this point. And let me just mention that our train leaving at 9 o'clock was the last train out of Paris that night. So if we missed that train, we are screwed. We are gonna have to stay in Paris for that night with nothing. Like, we didn't have anything. We left it all in London, obviously. If you guys are ever in this situation, just know that the train will leave without you. So it is probably like 8:45 at this point, and we are finally going through customs. So we finally get through there. At this point, it's 9 o'clock, like right on the dot at 9 o'clock. So we're kind of hustling down to the train. We get onto the train, they check us in, we sit down. Me and my mom get up to go to the bathroom because we're thinking, oh, we have time. Like, there's so many people that have to get on this train. Surely it's not going to be leaving anytime soon. I'm not kidding you guys. We got on the train and within minutes that train was gone. It was 9:02 and the train was taking off. So we barely made the train. So I did tell you guys earlier in the story that I did take some medication for my stomach to like settle it so that I wasn't getting sick or anything. So I didn't have any other symptoms other than being extremely nauseous and my body feeling like it was going to just like collapse at any moment. It was the most horrible feeling, and I don't think that the motion of the train helped at all. And we did go through the tube, so it is underwater, so you go down and the pressure change makes your ear pop and stuff like that, which probably didn't make me feel any better. So I ended up taking some anti-nausea meds on the train ride, which did help a little bit. It would kind of like subside the nausea for about 15 minutes and then it would kick in again really, really hard to where I couldn't even listen to music. I couldn't do anything. Nothing would make it better. So we finally get to London. We get off of the train. We get into our taxi. We finally get back to the hotel room and I decided that I was just gonna drink a ton of water before I went to bed. My dad had told me to take another anti-nausea med and take some Tylenol to hopefully help. So I lay down, I go to bed, and I wake up about 30 minutes after I go to bed to being on fire. I'm sweating and my body is shaking uncontrollably. Like, my body is like convulsing. And as soon as I wake up, I go into a panic. So my anxiety kicks in like that, which is making me shake more. I immediately wake up my dad and he comes over and he's like freaking out as well, which is not helping my anxiety whatsoever. It took probably a good hour for my body to stop shaking. I still to this day don't really know what happened. I ended up trying to sip on some Sprite and some applesauce. Thankfully, I had brought some of my applesauce packets with me. So we sat there for probably until like 4 or 5 in the morning of just pure misery. My dad also kind of got some type of stomach bug as well. We were both feeling really not good, to say the least. So 5 o'clock rolls around and we finally fall asleep. We sleep until like 12 p.m. the next day, and I wake up feeling tons better, but I still had that like kind of queasy stomach, and so did my dad. Thankfully, we had that whole entire day to recover, and we left the next day on Thursday. That was my story time. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I would love to hear your guys' experience if you've ever been to Paris before. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel down below. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, stay marvelous.